let's see. I came from high school where I did a lot of things starting in my junior and senior year. Joined the robotics team, which was a huge uh, thing for me. I got really into it, and was really sad that I didn't join something like Buggy sooner in high school. So for me, in high school, my Buggy was the robotics team. So when I got to college, I knew I wanted to do something like that as soon as possible, so that I would be able to get in that and get friends from that. And so for me, Buggy was my robotics team. Just
So
in a
you
college
came
version.
to campus being like, I'm going to join a buggy team? Or did it kind of pop out at you once you got here?
I came to campus knowing about Buggy just somewhat. I knew I wanted something that was like my high school robotics team, where it was kind of their own little group, where they would be able to, all know what's going on within each other. And looking at the Carnegie Mellon, the robotics club at Carnegie Mellon is very split up and very disjoint, as opposed to something where they're all working towards the same goal. So to me, I went to try to find out as much information as possible about Buggy, and I went to the What is Buggy event, and I learned about Buggy and about what it is, and to me that was very appealing, so I went for that. There are many duties of mechanicking that range drastically from the very technical aspects of Buggy, getting them built, getting them ready for rolls each day, all the way to making sure that the drivers are safe, making sure that the drivers are comfortable and having a good time. That being said, like, if the drivers aren't having a good time, that means we're not going to have a good time. And if the drivers aren't safe, that means that falls to us, because they're relying on us completely to make sure that the buggies are safe. And then if something goes wrong with the buggies, that could also hurt the pushers and make it so that they can't push as quickly as they could or as easily as they could. So it ranges on many different levels as a mechanic.
Okay. How did building a new buggy last year go? Describe the building of Renaissance.
Building Renaissance last year was a very interesting experience to me, and I think the rest of our organization as well, since we hadn't built a buggy in several years. So we were learning as much as we could from as many of our alumni and probing everyone with how we should do things and learning things online and other resources like that. And it was very hard getting organized when we didn't know what was ahead of us. So we knew some basic things like building a mold and getting that stuff ready, but once we got there, we didn't quite know how to progress from there, and everything finally came together in the last few weeks before race day, and it was a very, very busy time getting everything together and learning along the way what we could do better and the actual techniques of that we were doing at that time. It was very, very trying.
And how did it go this year?
This year we knew what we were doing from the beginning. We knew when we needed stuff done by. If we didn't have stuff done by this point, we should probably just forget it and continue it after race day or after next year, since race day is such a huge part of Buggy and basically the culmination of everything. So we knew the dates that we had to get stuff done by. We knew the techniques that we were using beforehand. We knew the process that we were going to use to get those techniques done, and what we should teach the newer recruits, what they needed to do, and what parts needed more people, what parts needed fewer people, and ways to organize the people in that process.
And did you have more people this time?
We did. Well, last time we knew very little of how many people we needed, so we just got ourselves together and organized. This time, we knew some parts needed a lot more hands than other aspects of the build. So the build parts that needed more people, we started asking more than just the mechanics to come out. We asked some of the pushers and some of the drivers, and some of our friends even, just to come down and help us with moving things around, getting things together. And then the other parts that required fewer hands, we were able to say, you guys can relax, and you can do this part, you can do that part, and it was much more relaxed.
Now, how many hours would you estimate building a buggy takes?
Building a buggy takes many, many, many hours. If I had to give a number, I would say somewhere along the lines of a couple hundred to 1,000 per person. of time, depending on how influential that person is, of course, and how much they know already. So if somebody is a good machinist, they'll probably spend a little more time machining than other people who don't know how to machine. That being said, there are a lot of parts that you don't need any experience for. It's just, well, as long as there's somebody there who knows what's going on, they just need a lot of people. So on average, I would say about 1,000 hours per person, with maybe 10 people on average. So approximately 10,000 hours. What does Buggy mean to me? Buggy to me is a very it's like a family. We have our alumni who are the parents and or I guess more of the grandparents, and then we have the officers and upperclassmen who are, I guess, more of the parents, and then we have the middleclassmen and underclassmen who are sort of the kids and the babies of the organization. So to me, I love interacting with everybody, and it's sort of the way that it's something that I really like doing and that I can just keep doing. It doesn't matter what's going on, I can always come back to Buggy and relax and know what I'm doing and just get things done. It's a way for me to get away from my classes for a while, get away from other stresses of the time, and just be myself. I keep doing Buggy because it's something that I can just keep doing. It's very it's something that I really enjoy doing. For example, for some of my classes, I hate doing long work where I'm not making any progress, where I can just keep working on something for a long time and not see myself getting better or see myself progressing in whatever I'm doing. Whereas in Buggy, I can always do something and I can always see something come out of it. I can always work on something. It may take a long time, but for me, I can be very focused on that one thing, and in the end, it will come out and it will work. And if it doesn't work, I can always go back and fix it and make it better. Whereas for like a homework assignment, you can work on it as long as you want, but once you turn it in, you can't change it. There's nothing you can do after you turn it in. Same with like a test or something like that. But if I have a project that I can work on, I can sometimes just forget about sleep, and it doesn't faze me at all. I've gone several nights without sleeping at all, and no change to me because I wasn't noticing it. I was busy. I was focused the whole time while I was working, and it just didn't matter to me that I wasn't sleeping. The most rewarding thing that I've gotten out of Buggy is meeting all these friends who are just like me and who enjoy Buggy as much as I do. But the most, let's see, probably the best thing that I've gotten out of Buggy and the best time I've had in Buggy was I really do enjoy rolls in the mornings, particularly, of course, race day. Race day is one of those times when all the alumni come back and I'm able to meet them and meet the people who made the Buggies before I came and learn from them what they had, hear their great stories, and hear the stories of alumni of long past who, did the same things that we did, but, different technologies, different experience from them. And I love hearing stories like that, and I hope to have some of my own, which I'm sure I will after I graduate. Worst day of Buggy, probably the day that I got sent home, actually, from Rolls. I had been doing a lot of work with AB Tech, which is something that I do on the side, just very small stuff, but there was a large event that I went to help with, and went late into the morning, and I actually went straight from that to Rolls in the morning, and I fell asleep at Rolls, and since I was so tired and groggy, they didn't want me out the rest of the day, so they sent me home, which was very sad for me.
That was last semester, right?
That was last semester. No, that was last year.
That was last year. So
It was a Greek singing out last year.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. So I sent you home.
Yeah, you and Natalie.
Yeah. Natalie was like, yeah, I sent you home.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the other bad times in Buggy is always when a driver stops, when we have no idea what's going on, or crashes, God forbid. We have been fortunate enough not to have any severe crashes. Like the worst we've had was that our driver was blinded by the sun and slowly ran into the back tire of a car. She was totally fine. The Buggy was fine. Nothing bad happened, but it's one of those things where your heart skips a beat and you have nothing to go on except that you have to be down there and help make it right and make sure that she's okay and make sure that the buggy's okay, and from there work it out.
So, is it? I think we do it because it's rewarding.
Do we do buggy because
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we do buggy because it's rewarding. There was no reward if we just sat there and did nothing. I was like, oh, we did this.
But we do more work for buggy than we do for our classes.
Yeah. And you know what we get out of it? A good time. We get to relax and we learn things. Like we learn how to, well, as a mechanic anyway, we learn how to make things. We learn how to actually make, I mean, technical drawings, and then from those we learn how to manufacture things. And from the pusher side of the board, we learn how to, keep ourselves fit, keep ourselves in a good shape so that we're able to push well. And then just from everybody else, we learn how to interact with people. Like we learn how to make sure that people are comfortable, make sure people are, well adjusted and able to have a good time on their own. And of course with everybody else. So I mean, you get rewarded in all areas of everything.
You get rewarded in all areas of everything.
Yeah, that's right.
The best sport ever.
It really kind of is, and I'm so glad we don't have to do the wheel change anymore.
What?
Because originally, well, in the original buggy, you had to.
Yeah.
It was two guys, one drove, one pushed, and then at the bottom of the hill, they had to do a wheel change to show off their technical ability.
And they switched.
And then they'd switch, and the other guy would push it back up the hill. Which, personally, changing a wheel doesn't show any technical ability at all. It's like, oh, I can change a nut, take off a wheel, and put on a new wheel. It's like, oh, well, good for you. But like actually building them, that takes technical ability. That takes, the knowledge and the ability to learn how to make something like that, especially in the age that we are with composites and other stuff like that.